DBSCG things.
What's up, Yuhp gang? It's your boy Taxon, and welcome back to Yuhp DBSCG Things. And today we're going over another very exciting deck profile, guys. This is going to be the deck that went undefeated at our locals this week. This is Set to Vegito. But before we get into it, guys, I do want to say if you guys want any custom mats and or sleeves, absolutely check out Promats, guys. This is the best place to go get your custom card needs, and if you guys do decide to get a mat from them, make sure you use the promo code YUHP to save on your entire order. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this list or my content in general, remember to hit all those buttons for me, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And with that being said, let's turn it around and check the list out. Alrighty, guys, here's my deck. Now let's go ahead and go over it. Starting off with the leader. Pretty basic leader. A lot of the text on this leader card you'll not be using. Only text that's really relevant to the leader's front side, back side, and to the Z leader is that you have a permanent making your Goku and Vegeta's blue, green, and red in all areas. Other than that, when this card attacks, you can choose to burst one card from the top of your deck. If the card that you bursted was a red card or a Goku of Vegeta making it a red, you get extra 5,000 power, which is decent. Too bad it doesn't let you combo with it. Getting extra Z energy would be amazing. Permanent remains the same on the backside. Auto on here now is attack, draw, and then if you have 10 or more Goku or Vegetas in your drop area, you get an extra 5k and double strike. That skill almost never comes up because once you get to this side of the leader, you almost immediately go to the Z leader. We'll go over the Z deck and what helps you get there quick. Our blocker token. And then, of course, the Z deck. Run 4 copies of the Vegito. 1-drop deflect, permanent if you have 3 or more colors in your Z energy, this card gains barrier. So if you have 2 Z energy and you pay 1 and 1 for him, and the card remaining in your Z energy is a Goku or Vegeta, he plays with barrier and deflect, which is very nice. And then auto on play, when he plays, you top 7 search for a Vegito card, no cost restriction to your hand, and then if you add 1 to your hand, you shuffle your deck and then bottom deck 1 card from your hand. And then you have an activate main. You get to remove this card from the game, flip your leader to the backside of its leader, and then draw 2 cards. Very nice. So most of the time, turn 2, you're gonna turn 1 you'll charge something and combo with it to start off your Z energy. Turn 2 you'll play this out, get you to this side of the leader. You'll swing, get your draw here, and then you'll go into this guy during the battle step. So essentially, he's Z Awaken, 1 red over your red Vegito card. He has 0 life restrictions, which is absolutely amazing, and this card has no life pull on the flip. So if you do this all on turn 2 and your opponent went second, you're more than likely playing into their 1 energy, which means that you have probably 7 life still. So you're awakening at 7 life, which is very, very nice. Anyways, you have the same permanent as the other side of your leader, so you don't lose that awesome tech that this deck actually utilizes. And then you have the activate main once per turn. If you have 3 or more energy, you get to choose one of your Vegito Z battle cards and then play a Vegito with energy cost of 8 on top of the card. I think is it 8 or less? Nope, it's only 8, so you have to play only 8 costs on top of this card. And then, or on top of these cards. So you play these out, use his activate main to make these into big 8-drop triple strikes, essentially. And then you have activate main, once per turn, you get to bottom deck 1 card from your hand, draw 2 cards, and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and return it back to the owner's hand. This is extremely powerful against Rip a Life blocker negates. Like, I like to save that effect until I'm like done swinging a few big attacks, because eventually my opponent's going to want to use one of those free negates. And once they do so, I can utilize this to put that blocker back in the hand. Once the blocker token is removed from the battle area, it's removed from game. This skill is also extremely powerful against secret rares, Z cards, and things among those. Since it's also really good against God Trunks or anything that has a skill on it that says when this card's removed from the battle area, removed from the game. So like the 5-drop God Trunks as an example there. So there's the main Vegito part of the Z deck. Now for our last 2 cards of the Z deck, we have our 1 Oolong. This card is absolutely amazing. 1 and 2 Z energy, and then essentially you just get to choose any card on your or your opponent's field and then gain that that amount of power. So more than likely you're using this as a 1-drop 40k, just copying either your or your opponent's secret rare's power. And the card's amazingly good, like especially for the fact that in this deck you're essentially getting your secret rare out for 1 energy. And then our last card is SS4 Son Goku, Defender of Life. Absolutely bonkers card. A reason I really like this card is a lot of the times I'll use the Z Awaken leader to swing in a big number, or at least threaten a double strike attack, right? Because the super combos I run in this deck do make your attacks very, very large if you play it correctly. Anyways, you swing in with a double strike of some sort. let's say they're at 5, they're going to want to use their Rip of Life negate so they don't have to take a double strike. Okay, now they're going on to 4. You utilize this card here. You put that blocker back to their hand. You play him out. You get yourself a burn damage, and then you play out one of these guys. Go into the triple striker, and then you're going, because this, swinging it at their 5 life, they negate, go down to 4. This puts them down to 3, and then you play this guy out to get the triple striker, and then swing for the triple striker, which is very nice. A very good way to help you in time, and it's a very good way to help you get your triple strikes into lethal range, which is very nice. So with that being said, I will set this out a little bit for you guys. This is the Z deck. Now we will go over the main deck itself. A lot of this deck is just the Vegito package. There's room for tech pieces, but just not a lot. Our first card to talk about here is Son Goku at the ready. This guy essentially just plays for any color energy, and then you top 5 search for a 4-cost or less Saiyan and add it to your hand, which is it's a red Saiyan too as well. So more than likely you're looking for your polymorphic Potara Vegito to help you free play bodies to go into your bigger Resolve Renewed Vegito, and then also this thing searches out things like your super combos, any of your body negates besides Whis, and things like that. So this card is absolutely great turn 1, and it's just a great card to have in your deck because it's a Goku. Next card we have 3 copies of the Legend Personified. This card's absolutely amazing. You play him, he draws a card, and then you get to activate main. If you have Bond 3, he counts as one of those bonds, so you just have to have 2 other battle cards on field for this to happen. And with the amount of barrier that this deck has, having him and then the 8 drops that go on top of him, very easy to obtain. And then once you once you get to Bond 3, you get the 21,000 power, making him a 25k attacker. Great thing about him is that if you Potara on top of him after you've used that 21,000 power, that power will retain onto the Potara target as well, which is very, very nice. So we got 3 of that. Our next card, we're running 2 copies of Saiyan Bloodlight Son Goku. A card that I was not running for the longest, but I decided to cut these cards down to make room for this card. This card is great. It's essentially this card, except for its top deck and then bottom deck. It's top deck 3 and then bottom deck the whatever you don't grab. Great part about this card is it has 0 cost restriction, and it's grabbing a blue or yellow Saiyan card. Now your leader effect is making all your Goku and Vegetas blue, so he's searching out most of your Goku or Vegeta cards, while at the same time it has no cost restriction. So if you do manage to find one of your big 8-drop Vegetas and or your secret rare, which is the main reason I run this, you get to keep that and add that to your hand, which is absolutely phenomenal, being able to go search out your 8-drop turn 1, your 8-drop secret rare turn 1, which is just absolutely busted. Next up, we're diving into the Vegetas. This package a little bit more exciting because this is what allows us to get into some of the other packages of our deck. We have 3 copies of Vegeta protecting his loved ones. This is Dimension Magic Hate. It's actually a very great main board because a lot of the times in this deck, if you're versing blue, your opponent's going to want as much energy back as possible so that they can utilize even more negates to stop all your triple strikes. So sticking a card like this and then allowing that lingering effect excuse me, allowing that lingering effect to sit around on the field is absolutely broken. Next up, we have 4 copies of Vegeta Fatherly Encouragement. This card's great. Essentially, it's just 4 copies of a hard negate for 1, and it plays a 5k combo power, which is not too bad because, if you negate the attack and your opponent wants to swing with a 15k, maybe even a 20k, this could be one of the 5ks that you end up using during that battle step, which is nice. Or you can leave him on field and then allow him to become Potara targets, and or if he's in your hand, he can be a pitch target for something we'll get to later on. Our next card that we're going to talk about here is Vegeta Resolve Renewed. A fantastic card, and actually this card has been errated to only being able to be used within this deck, which is actually great because this card gives us access to responses to almost any floodgate in the game right now, or at least most of them. I mean, this doesn't stop the floodgates in Android 21, but it stops Mecha Frieza, it stops Vegito, it stops Deadly Defender Friend, or Defending His Friends 17. It stops in absolutely a lot of floodgates, so this is the reason we still run 3 of it. It's also very searchable, and as well as a Potara target within the deck, so not too shabby there. Our next card is more yellow stuff to help us with our yellow package. We have 3 copies of SSB Vegeta Future on the line. A lot of the times this card becomes just charge fodder. But I'm not gonna lie, the times that I do manage to get this, it gives our deck barrier removal without putting it back into our hand, because our Z leader does allow us to have barrier removal, but it does put it back to our opponent's hand. So if our opponent has a barrier battle card that we just don't like, let's say we're staring down a 4-drop Sin Shenron. If we can manage to bait out the block and then swing for this, we can KO it that way. Or this card is just going to put it back in their hand, so you have to make sure that they're in a situation where they can't reuse it. Anyway, so yeah, that's the reason I really like this card. Free charge, free pitch, and then as well as barrier removal if I'm not going to want to put it back into the hand with the leader effect. Next card, even more Vegetas. My Vegeta package is slightly bigger than my Goku package, but that is simply because the Vegeta cards have more value in this deck than some of the Goku cards. Most of the Goku cards are just searchers, whereas the Vegeta cards hold a lot of the tech pieces. Here's our super combo of choice and also a Vegeta that we can Partara onto if we need to. What this guy does is he is a 0 plus 10k that you can use at any point of the game. No life restriction, no burst restriction, nothing like that. Auto, if your leader is red when this card is used in red or green, when this card is used in a combo, you get to play 1 Save a Man token with unique and blocker for the turn. Great reason that this card is useful is because when you combo with this card, you get to spawn that token immediately. So once you spawn that token, you combo that off immediately, making this a free 15,000 power super combo, which is very nice. And if you're in a situation where you're not worried about if you're in a situation where the super combo alone will get you out of it, and the blocker doesn't need to get, like, if you're using it defensively, essentially, stop yourself from taking a 20k attack, go to 25, spawn yourself a blocker comes out, and then you can block the very next attack, which is very, very nice. It's essentially the blocker token negate, but on a battle card, and then it allows you to use those combos allows you to use those blockers during the combo step in the same action that you play it, which is very, very, very powerful, making this card one of my favorite choices to use in this deck. Also, being that he is a Vegeta, he's very easy to Z charge turn 1, allowing or not turn 1, like turn 2, 3 farther. Giving this card barrier is amazing. Moving on. Our last Goku Vegeta part, we have Goku and Vegeta Saiyan Synergy. Another negate. You don't get the auto in this leader because your leader is not blue, but the negate part of this card is absolutely phenomenal, along with the fact that it is a Goku and a Vegeta card. A lot of the times I don't use this as a negate. More than likely this card comes from out of our deck through, what's that card called? Resolve Renewed. Or Polymorphic Potara, I apologize. We're talking about Polymorphic Potara. Next up, we have Polymorphic Potara. For 1 energy, you get to discard this card from your hand and then go through your deck and play I believe it's 15, is it 2 cost or less? No cost, no battle power restriction, just 2 cost or less Goku and Vegeta card from your deck into your battle area in rest mode. Place this card in the drop area. At the end of your turn, those 2 cards go into the drop area if they're still in your battle area, as well as for the duration of the turn, you can now play non-Vegito cards, which is... It's quite a restriction, but a lot of the times when you do manage to play this card, you're not going to be doing much more than Vegito stuff anyways. So the best thing about this card is you can play out absolutely anything. This card gets reduced in deck, so this card here is the only card that can't get played from deck off this. So everything here is a target for Polymorphic, which is fantastic. And like I was saying about this guy, a lot of times I won't use him as a negate because he's a Goku and Vegeta, and a lot of the times I'm trying to use all of my energy on my turn for aggression and then use free negates and things like that on my opponent's turn. So a lot of the time he doesn't get used as a negate, but when he does get used, it's from being pulled from the deck to go into a Polymorphic. So Polymorphic goes into Resolve Renewed. Resolve Renewed just essentially Union Potara for free, draw 2 over Goku or Vegeta, which essentially is the card that you're playing off of this. You have 2 different activate mains, one of which you're absolutely never going to use, and the other of which you're going to just make your opponent very, very scared of all game. Activate main / battle, which is actually very important. Play up to 1 Vegeta card with an energy cost of 7 or less from your deck on top of this card, and then shuffle your deck. The card that we'll be speaking of here is this card. This card is barrier as well, so this card just absolutely sticks around on the field for an astonishing amount of time. And this is another card that I was bringing up earlier. If you manage to get this guy out with Bomb 3, activate his effect, swing for 25, you can go ahead and Polymorphic into this guy, carrying over that 21, making him a 46,000 power attack. So you get to swing for 46, Swing for 46, and if your opponent does not negate, or you just make sure that a negate doesn't happen, you can pay 2, go into this, and that power still carries over. So this guy will still be a 46,000 triple strike. So not too shabby there. Anyways, moving on to what the Hyperspeed Rush does. He plays from deck, and then you get all of his effects. You're never going to use his Union Patara skill for 5. That's absolutely too expensive, and it wasn't expensive back in the day when this card was printed, but it is expensive now. Anyways, Triple Striker, auto when this card is played, which this is the best part about this card. When this card is played, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and one of the cards in their hand and place them into the drop areas, and then you get to draw 2 cards and then choose up to 2 cards in your life and add them to your hand. That is absolutely astonishingly good. A lot of people, or a lot of the times in this deck, we will awaken at high life. We'll even get to the Z leader before we're like below 6 more than most of the time, which is absolutely crazy. So this card giving us extra cards from our life. Like when we play this guy out, he's essentially a draw 4 because he's not coming from our hand. This guy actually drew us 2 when he played. He's not coming from hand, and then he's drawing 4. So like you get a big hand size if you actually do rip the 2 life along with the 2 draws, which is actually very, very powerful. And a lot of the times you're going to only be playing him when you're guaranteed going through with the attack, or if you want to KO something on your opponent's turn, which is nice because this is activate main / battle, which is actually very important. If your opponent's going in with a non-barrier card, you can always activate this, play him, get his auto to KO the attacking card, and then rip a card from your opponent's hand. Now going into some of our Vegito targets, we have 2 copies of SSB Paralyzing Prowess. Card's absolutely phenomenal. You get no effects on this card besides the fact that it is Deflect, Barrier, and Triple Strike. This is the card that you're going to be using your Z Leader effect to go ahead and free play onto these 1-drops right here. Next up on that list we have SSB Vegito the Savior. This card's especially good against certain matchups. A lot of the times you'll be in matchups where you just don't want to use it. Like if you're going against black and they have an energy open, you don't want to negate swing at that card because they'll more than likely negate with petrification and then leave you in a situation where you're just absolutely powerless. So yeah, you absolutely want to only use this card in matchups where it's worth it. Like per se, a green matchup. Green has a hard time getting rid of battle cards during the battle step, which is fine because green's absolutely busted right now. And then I would say probably red as well. Red takes a little bit more to managely get these off the board on my turn. So a lot of times you're not going to be able to run into situations where it's getting rid of on your turn. A lot of the times you're just not going to do it if it's a matchup where it can be affected. So with that being said, card's great. It's a 30k crit, and then it's a dual attack as well. And then on the second attack of the dual attack, you do become a double striker. So you're essentially swinging for 3 damage as well, and they're all crit, which is nice. Our secret rare of choice, Polymorphic Patara. This card comes out absolutely early in this deck. A lot of the times you're slapping this card down on like turn 3 and putting yourself in such a winning position that your opponent just can't fight out of it anymore. So just an absolutely astonishing card. It draws 4 and rests 4, and then it swings for 40 triple strike, which is absolutely amazing. It more than likely will get rid of on the next turn if you don't manage to kill him. So just know that that card got you all the value it needed to do on play, and like if it gets removed, cool, it got removed. Let's go ahead and play into some more of our Vegito stuff. Our last Vegito card of the deck, SSB Vegito Soaring Blues. Anyways, 20k, remove 2 cards back to the opponent's bottom of the opponent's deck when he is played. I like to call this card one of my extra overwhelms. A fantastic card. The reason he is so good is because you get to use his permanent. You can activate its union skill by choosing union targets within your energy area. So if you're in a situation where you've tapped out all your energy, you're going for game, you just need the 1 last damage, or you just need extra removal, you play this guy out, you get rid of the cards. And this card, it has no cost restriction, which is actually amazing. A lot of the times you'll use this card to get rid of a blocker skill, and your opponents will think, oh yeah, well they used their leader effect. My token blockers are safe now. Well, now when they token blocker, you can play this, get rid of the token blockers, and then still swing with one of your bigger cards, which is great. Our actual overwhelm of choice is SS3 Goku Man on the Mission. A lot of the times I just use this card the moment I see it just to add extra pressure because I'm an aggro deck. A lot of the times what this card does is just say, hey, I played this for free, ditch a negate from your hand. It's a great card, and then paired with our super combo, he's a 35 double strike crit if your opponent doesn't negate, and a lot of times an attack power like that will go through. So great card there. We have 2 copies of Omega Shinron. This card is absolutely snapped. He plays for 2 on our like turn 3 because we Z-awaken turn 2 most of the time. He plays out, he's a 30k triple strike, and then activate battle, you get the minus something 3k per Z energy that you have, and then if you're at a Z leader, you get to neg something by 30,000, which is absolutely amazing. So big boy triple strikes. Everything in the deck is triple strikes. That's the entire objective of the deck. Here's our negate lineup. We have 4 copies of Whis, Angel of Universe 7. This card essentially is homicidal clones, testing the opposition, freeze army reinforcements, things like that, except for it says that I can activate this whenever as long as I have 4 colors in my energy area. And being that we're running a deck that gives our Goku and Vegeta's 3 colors, we just need to play the 1 color that is not being given. So being that it's giving us green, blue, and red, you charge us our yellow energy, and boom, now we have 4 colors in our energy, making this live turn 1, which means that this will help us use some of our life early as well, which is nice because, like I said, we do awaken in high life a lot of the time. Next up, our very next negate, we have 2 copies of King Vegeta's Imposing Presence. Great card, does work, not the best floodgate in the world, but it's fine. It does stuff. It stops stuff, I guess. Anyways, Almighty Resistance. This is the real stopper of stopping. Your opponent tries to stop you, and you just stop them from stopping you, and you just say, I win, and that stops the game. So with that being said, this card's great. You pay 2, a red and a yellow, so it'd be important that we charge yellow at some point. And then when you activate this, you have to pitch a yellow card, so you have to have one of these in your hand. Once you do so, you get this the counter attack skill, and then your attack more than likely goes through. So a lot of the times, you'll say, I mean, it doesn't matter which one of these it is, but essentially you say, okay, I swing triple strike. They go, okay, I negate, and the best part about this is a lot of the times they'll be like, okay, I free negate, rip a life, and then you go, okay, I'll counter. You'll go down to whatever you just went down to for ripping a life, and then this attack's going through. So absolutely great card. We keep it in the deck because keeping it in the deck is part of keeping it in the deck. And then we Senzu Bean because Senzu Bean is Senzu Bean, and it's been Senzu Bean since set 1, and Senzu Bean, it makes me want to sing. You already know how it is. With that being said, 5k untap 2. The best part about this card in this deck is that we get access to this combo on our opponent's turn if we're at 1 energy. So let's say we have 1 energy going into our opponent's turn. Their opponents think they're safe. They're swinging, they're doing their thing. They play a battle card that doesn't have any protection. They're swinging with that, and you're like, okay, well here I want to get rid of it and draw some cards. So you can Senzu Bean, give your leader the 5k, give whatever the 5k, untap the 2, and then activate main/battle on him, playing the big old 7-drop out from the deck on top of them, KOing whatever you're in battle with, and then drawing 2 cards instead of having to deal with any type of loss in terms of comboing and things like that. But with that being said, guys, that was the deck. Senzu Bean's amazing. With that being said, that was the deck. My matches of this week. Round 1, I versed Frieza Swap. Frieza Swap, great. Frieza Swap took a little bit too long to set up, and then when I had Mecha Frieza, I had Resolve Renewed, and then was able to swing through and go for game. So Frieza Swap did great match. I had fun playing him as well, but long story short, Vegito ended up taking that. Round 2 was against Black Shroom and Salsa. That was a very, very close game. Like, Shroom and Salsa surprises me with how strong that deck actually is. But without further explanation, essentially, it got to the point where he had to power burst himself down to a point, and we just said counter, we're going to deal with that. And then my finals match was against another Vegito deck, so a little Vegito on Vegito hate crime. Finals round 3 was, what is that? Spirit Bomb Vegito is what it's called. Yellow Vegito. We essentially just played to rush down. We just swang until we were ready to absolutely annihilate, and then once we got an attack through that was worthy of the kill, we went for it. And that was actually recorded, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. That was our most recent uploaded video. That's probably uploaded like 2 days ago. Go check that battle out. But with that being said, guys, that was the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. If you did, remember to hit all those buttons for me. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And with that being said, we will see you guys next time.